Today's grocery market share release covers the 4 weeks and the 12 weeks to the 3rd of November 2024. Sales at the grocers rose by 2.3% over the 4 weeks, which so happens also to be the rate of grocery inflation. One of the things keeping a welcome lid on price rises are the ever-increasing levels of promotion, which have now been rising for 18 months. Most of that promotional purchasing is of branded items, and this month the growth rate for brands has moved markedly upwards. In fact, the gap between branded and own-label growth is at its greatest since early 2021. The month of October was the busiest footfall month, and I mean physical and digital combined here, in the grocers since March 2020, which you may dimly remember was the shopping rush before we all went into COVID lockdown. It's hard to decisively link the higher footfall to anything specific, but you can be sure the long march back to what might be considered normal shopping patterns continues. Don't forget, though, that the average frequency of trips is still below pre-pandemic levels, and online share is still much higher. Sales are already starting to ramp up in advance of Christmas. The 4-week ending sales of £11.6 billion were the biggest seen in 2024 so far. Early festive buyers of Christmas cakes and mince pies are already in the supermarket aisles. Confectionery always does well at the end of the year, and the final quarter gets bump-started by Halloween. $525 million spent in the last month. Sales of both chocolate and sugar confectionery are up, with higher cocoa prices playing their part. If you do think Halloween is getting bigger, we can tell you just over 1 in 10 households bought at least one pumpkin in the last month, not hugely different to previous years. Over the 12 weeks, Ocado are again the fastest growing retailer, increasing sales at nearly 3 times the overall online market. Lidl have been the fastest growing physical retailer for more than a year, now reaching 15 months in a row. Lidl also made a net gain of more than 300,000 shoppers, the biggest increase for any retailer. The race was close between the 2 largest supermarkets, Tesco's and Sainsbury's, with both gaining market share. Morrisons will be pleased to note they grew ahead of the market for the first time in just over 3 years. Also growing ahead of the market were Waitrose and Iceland, enough to push Waitrose into share gain territory. Join us next time for our last update before Christmas. By then, the festive advertising campaigns will have been on air for several weeks. We expect to see sales continue ramping up in November. We will check if it looks like a premium Christmas again this year and start to get a view on which retailers are setting themselves up for the most important month of the year.